Welcome friends to a new chess analysis video. This is in the journey to Class A, and at the end of the last tournament I finished 2-2 and I lost 1 point. So I'm 1651, and at this point we are starting round 1 of our Spring Swiss, and I am playing against Clark McCutcheon. He is a 1900, I am 1651. Again, the games are game in 100, delay of 5. We don't use increment at my club, but that's okay. So in this game, how does it go? I am black, and this is round 1. Let's take a look. He plays e4, and I get to play a Sicilian. So let's go. And I've opted for the O'Kelly Sicilian, or the O'Kelly variation. So, and that is always pretty much in any given scenario and move order where it's c5, a6. Now, not always, but most of the time it is like that. So, he plays for the open variation in the normal system, and you take, and I attack the pawn. Pretty standard stuff. This is normal. The moves are usually knight to c3, which he played, and then e5, kicking the knight back. And the knight has a few options. It can come here, 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 or here. So it's really nice, and there's a lot of interesting things that you can do depending on which way they play. Now, Clark opted for playing knight to b3, and I was really happy to see this because I was familiar with this variation. So the next move is bishop to b4, and black has really good chances. And at this point in the game, getting this pin so early and being able to maybe take this guy off, you get it's already an equalizing type of game. So I'm really happy with the results that I have so far. And we're only like 6 moves in, which is great. And if I get a chance to peel that knight off, I'm going to. He plays bishop d3, castled, and I played knight takes c3. I get everything that I wanted. And in the Masters database, there's still one game being played, which is b takes c3, forced at this point, and then playing d6. And now what's interesting is this particular position has been played 4 times in the Lead Chess Master database, but this one back here has only been seen once. So it's kind of interesting. There's some transpositions here, but at this point I'm feeling really good, and this is going to be a permanent weakness to deal with. So at this point in the game, I'm feeling really confident. I feel really good. I've gotten everything that I want out of the opening, and I feel as though I've equalized and I can start working towards advantage by picking up this pawn, because he has a very difficult time trying to defend it. He plays h3, keeping me out of this critical square. To me, I feel like that's kind of probably a wasted move, and he should have probably just developed or come. I think going to b2 is kind of silly, but perhaps maybe a3 and kind of going after this pawn. But this developing move of bishop to d3 was probably not ideal. It's probably better to be sitting here on d2, so that way he has this open. So I feel as though he's given himself some problems, and I think the problem is he's just not familiar with the O'Kelly. This a6 really kind of move order wise kind of messed with his whole scenario for playing a Sicilian, because I believe he was really wanting to get castled queenside, which is what I think a lot of Sicilian players do. That's the whole idea of playing the Sicilian and getting this imbalance. And when we had a postmortem after, he did mention, he's like, I didn't really know what to do with that c pawn after you took my knight. The double up pawns, he just really had no idea what to do. So he played here, and I get another developing move for free. He played a4, which I'm not exactly sure what the purpose of this move is. I think he's just trying to gain some space, and maybe he wants to bring his bishop here and have it protected by the bishop or by the knight. And he even admitted to me, he's like, I don't know why I was making all these pawn moves. He just did. He admitted to me that he was just unfamiliar with what he should be doing here, and it was tough to try to find some of the right answers. And so I played Queen C7, going after the weak pawn. So white has a decision to make at this point. What do you do? How do you just let the pawn go? Do you protect the pawn, or do you move the pawn? And these are all viable options. This is an option. This is an option. This is an option. Yeah, it's tough. And then this is an option. I don't really know what way is best. If it were me, I'd probably play here, but I don't like that either, because then you take a square away from your knight. But maybe I'd play here, and with the idea of this type of scenario and playing for that. That's something that looks like maybe a potentially good idea to me. Maybe that's not a good plan, I'm not sure, but white is kind of jammed up and has to do something. Clark opted for playing c4. And to me, I was kind of curious. I'm like, well, that's just a free pawn, right? Like, am I missing something? I can just take that. And maybe that was the plan. He did not say whether or not he did admit he didn't know what to do with that pawn. So I think that he decided to do this instead. So he gets the part of the plan that I was thinking that he might do, and I play rook to d8, protecting my pawn. If he trades here, he can still pick that pawn up. So that's what I was expecting to happen. If he trades and I trade and he comes here, he's got this pin to deal with. And it's not awesome. So that's what I was kind of hoping for. He didn't play that. He was too clever for that. And here I just decided to take the bishop. I thought that he would play with the queen. And if he did that, I'm really liking my position, because these pawns are just absolutely horrible. And it's really difficult for him to do anything about this particular pawn. Worst case scenario, I can come back and defend it, and I can get my other pawn and knight rolling. We're doing fine. Everything is perfect here. I have no real issues. I like this position a lot. And he played here, and I thought, oh, okay. This is a permanent outpost. He's got this permanent outpost too, but this is much harder for him to get to, because I can, whoops. It's harder it takes 4 moves for you to get a knight from here to here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's the fastest way you can do it. I can jump into this spot very easily, and to me that's really good. So I finish my development, and he stops me from bringing my knight in here, and I just double up on the pawn, giving myself a potential other square to go to and attack the knight. He plays a5, which I'm not quite sure of the purpose of that. Maybe he's, when I come here, he's thinking I might come to here, but maybe he's just considering getting the pawn off a light square so he can protect it with his dark squared bishop. I'm not quite sure. It's an interesting position. I'm not exactly sure what the best option for white or for black is. Or sorry, for what white is here. Maybe trying to double up on the C file, but that's kind of unclear to me too. And maybe that is the best option. Just get the rooks going. But there's not a lot you can do about it. It's an interesting spot. he played a5, and I played queen to e6, going after this and trying to play for this type of scenario. Rook a to b1, knight to e8, adding more time and space or protection to the knight. And it's an inaccuracy. I probably should have just brought my my rook to the open file, finish my, complete my development, even though get my rooks on the nice centered files, and kind of, this would be the line that the engine kind of likes. And those are all playable, and none of that's really difficult to find or understand. I think this is difficult for white, and yeah, I could have played in that way, but I didn't see that stuff. I had different ideas and plans. I wanted to get my knight in here and really kind of focus on this particular issue, and then I get some tempo against this bishop too. So, and I thought, well, if I can get the bishop, then I can get that too. And I thought, well, now I get a pawn. So now I'm up 2 pawns right now, and now I have something to deal with. And I thought, well, he's going to get that pawn back. That's okay. But I'm going to get this wonderful outpost. And I thought, okay, well, I don't mind giving the pawn back if I get this wonderful positional gain. And he'll get this here, and maybe he can try to pile up on this pawn. But I can always try to contest it. He came in here trying to come after this pawn on, a more weakened king side. And I thought, well, what is the most testing move here? I kind of gave it away already. But this knight on this outpost is a really good spot, because I thought to myself, well, the most testing move has to be queen to g6. Now, there could be better moves, but I really think this is the best move in the position. Mainly, and it actually does throw away my advantage a little bit, but I like it a lot because it's tough. Humanly, it's tough to deal with, because this is coming. He can't take. This is coming. And there's going to be some serious problems. So he has to deal with this. And he played rook to b2. And this is the nice thing about where this knight is. I can come back, and I'm forcing moving some of these pieces around with tempo. And yeah, he should have moved here, which is what I was expecting him to do. And then we'd get a, scenario like this, which is, I saw this in the game. I didn't see, yeah, and I saw this part too. And I thought, well, I'll just consolidate. I didn't see these next 2 moves. I didn't see that deep. But those are easy moves to find. I'm sure I would have found them otherwise. And so after knight e6 and bishop c3, I played knight f4, and Clark actually resigned here. Because if he moves here, I have this fork. And if he doesn't move, I get checkmate. So, yeah, and if he moves here, I still get this. And yeah, this was most likely one of the best games that I've ever played. And if we take a look at the analysis here, look at that. I made 1 inaccuracy, and I played 95% accurately with 11 average Senate pawn loss. I have not played a better game, at least as far as the engine's concerned. And to me, everything felt pretty logical with the way I played. Everything just kind of made sense and fell together. So yeah, this is the first time I've beat a 1900. So I'm really, really pleased and excited with this game. And I couldn't be more pleased with the outcome, obviously, because, I won. So, and this is round 1 of a new tournament, and I won round 1 against a higher rated player. So this is really setting me up for pretty great tournament success. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this episode. This was one of my best games I've ever played, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode, and take care.